It's been 4.5 years since Kinuko passed away, and I've still kept all of her things in this room, her clothes and all the little gifts and mementos that we got from various people over the years. And it's my treasures that I shall always keep until I go to see Kinuko when I meet her. My name is Dave Laskey. I'm in my 80th year right now, and I was the average conservative Canadian who believed all the propaganda during World War II and the Korean War in the 40s and the early 50s. And my service overseas in the Army was with the Canadian Army Special Force and Commonwealth Occupation Forces in Japan, and I was over there for 2.5 years. Actually, I was in Miyajima, the island of Miyajima. I knew a friend there with me in Miyajima. He was a Japanese Canadian, and when we went into Hiroshima on the streetcar, and I seen Kinuko-san sitting there, and he says, "Oh, you like that?" I said, "Yes, I do." I said, "Gee," he says, "Well, I'll introduce you. I know her," because he knew her. I asked her about, well, can we want to go to a good movie house, and she says, "Well, when I get off, there's a very nice film, place to see films." And so when we got off the station, the theater was over there, so we got in the lineup, and then Kinuko went. And I'm thinking to myself, when I look back, so I got out of the line, I forgot the movie, and I followed Kinuko, found out where she lived, and then I kept going into Hiroshima every day to see her. And 6 months later, we were married. When I first met her, she had a scar, an obvious scar on her face, and she seen me looking at her scar, and she says, "I thought it bomb," and I said, "Oh," and I felt that I didn't want to ask her about it. I knew that she was in the atomic bomb, but she was my beautiful wife, and I wouldn't push her and ask her for questions, and she kept it to herself. But back then, we didn't realize the full implication. I mean, the records and the movies and the pictures that people see nowadays were withheld from the public until late 1970s. And when that information came out, people could see what happened and that it was dead wrong. She decided to go public when these pictures came out. Due to the fact that the American politicians that said Kennedy and Hatfield, who proposed those nuclear freeze proposals, they heard of Kinuko's work with survivors, and they asked her if she would come and testify at Washington. So she had to write it out because she had to speak it in English, and I helped her with the English. That's when I learned the little details that she never discussed with anyone before. August 6, 1945, I was 1.4 kilometers from the hypocenter in Hiroshima. I was a 16-year-old mobilized student nurse working in the communications hospital. It was a beautiful Sunday morning. I heard the B-29 high in the sky, come and go. I saw a long, white, thin trail in the blue sky. Seconds later, I was surrounded by brilliant orange light. At that moment, I thought a bomb was dropped outside the window. A great pressure rolled me back and forth. I couldn't control myself. My body was bouncing like a ball. Then crashing sounds over my head. Something hit my head and slapped my face hard. Quickly, I put my hands to my head. Blood is coming down all over. I saw like a heavy fog is slowly lifting, and I found myself sitting out in the hallway. I was blown out of the room. People are moving in silence, and blood all over. I went to the washroom that was off the hallway. The taps were left running. Water mixed with blood, people dead, dying people all over on the floor.
Everything was black. Slowly, I moved my face to my left cheek, to my hands, to left cheek, and I thought I felt my cheekbone. In the mirror, I saw a horrible creature I can see too clearly. Usually my
pigtails hang down in front, but my hair was scorched, dusty and grey. The pigtails were standing up like horns. My face was like a busted open watermelon. From then on, it was a horrible nightmare. A few days later, I was detained. I was determined to go to my mother. I crawled towards Hiroshima Station. About 1 mile, I crawled over many dead bodies. Every often, I would lift my head and high to see and open my eyelid to see where to go. I heard people saying that there was no trains because the station was badly damaged. I had to go to the next station, almost 2 miles more, crawling, passing out, always trying to keep moving. I was almost there to the station. I saw a man in front with schoolboys hurrying to the station. He looked like a school teacher. I tugged on his pants and begged him to please take me on the train. He picked me up and took me on the train. The train was packed with injured and dying and dead people. Those standing were helping. My mother said it was 15 or 16 days after the bomb when I came home. I passed through a period of radiation sickness, blind and crippled for 1 year, no medication, no doctor, no hospital to go to, only my mother to nurse me with fresh spring water. Later, every time I saved my money, I had plastic surgery on my face in Japan and in Canada. I don't like to talk about that day, but it is the only way to show I care for all mankind. I wish that no one has to follow my footsteps, and I wish that all people will simply realize that bombs are only for destroying things we love and teach us to hate. They cannot give us peace or love. To prevent this from happening again, refresh our memories and face our responsibility to future generations. I deeply believe that love and understanding is the only way. No more Hiroshimas, no more Nagasakis. And then this is the Hiroshima medical team. We had meetings to get them to come to Canada. And this is Dr. Shimizu from Canada, but these were the Japanese group in here. And then we had a party after. And then this is Councillor Seto. When we went home in 1980, her brother, her sisters, they were all getting help from the government. They had their certified victim book. So she went down to City Hall, she registered, and they accepted her, and they says, yes, that's good, okay, you're a survivor. But I'm sorry, we can't give you any money or any benefits because you don't live in Japan. And she was very disappointed and saddened. And so when we came home, she decided to work for survivors' benefits overseas benefits. And we formed the Canadian Society of Atomic Bomb Survivors. We found 18 people in Vancouver, and they all came over to our house, and we filled out papers and everything. And then after we had formed the society, we went to Hiroshima, and Kinuko spoke to the mayor and to the medical associations, and they said, we need a vehicle for us to come. And in the United States, they had a sister society relationship with the medical field. So we came back to Canada, and we approached the British Columbia Medical Association and proposed a sister society relationship to enable the doctors to come here, and they agreed, and they came. And that was finally, she actually finally started receiving benefits not until 2003. So we had been working for those benefits since 1980. They offered her further medical benefits for her face, and she went back to Japan, and they did surgery, and they completely removed the scar. You know, a year later, she passed away. Well, she had tumors, and she had operations of tumor removed, and she suffered in pains and pains. And finally, she couldn't walk. And they found out it was small cell lung cancer. And they said, it's so far gone, we can't do anything, we can't cure it. And they gave her 3 months to live, but she died in 3 weeks, just quick. And to me, if you're exposed to radiation, you're exposed to cancers. She asked me to take care of myself. Don't get downhearted. Keep working towards peace. And keep the Lantern Day ceremonies going in Vancouver if I can. And have them proclaim Hiroshima Day. For 53 years, I never thought it would come to an end, and when it does come, it's hard to bear. And I asked her, Kinuko, we have our cemetery plots. I'm going to have to put you there. And then she looked at me. I said, no, honey, I'm going to keep you with me. And when I go, we'll both go in there together. So I'm going to keep you with me by my side forever. And she used to make all kinds of lamps and artwork. And this is stained glass windows. And she has the peace dove, Japanese maidens. Yeah, Kinuko-san, yeah, she used, in the schools with the children, she used the origami crane and the story of Sadako. And what she would do, she would say you have to fold the crane, and it has to be neat, and everything has to be correct, and that's why you're going to school, to learn how to do things properly. And when you make the correct folds on your origami crane, and she'd be folding it and blow it up, and there you have a pretty little peace crane. But she'd take another piece of paper and start folding again, and she'd say, if you fold a crane and you miss out a step, and she keeps on folding, and then blows it open, and it's an ugly little duckling. It's not a beautiful peace crane, so there's a mistake. So you have to unfold it, refold it, and make the correct, and include all the steps. And that's what's happened with our peace process. We've made a mistake, and we have to look back and correct that mistake. And in her opinion, the biggest mistake they have made in the world is the use of atomic bombs and producing a weapon that can destroy the planet. The reason that I met Kinuko is beyond me. I mean, people on their journey in life, they develop certain tastes, certain idioms, and I think everybody in their lifetime meets a person that means everything to them. Some people don't recognize it, and it gets away from them. I'm so happy I was able to get that.
Especially I met a Canadian soldier at the time, my husband today. I came to Vancouver, and he loved me so much. He showed me the strength of love, and I kept having new life. And I like to share the love I learned from Safa. I like to share with these people.